We finally found a beer garden that we're going to check out. It's in IKEA. We risked our lives coming here with a driver that doesn't know how to read traffic signs in German and a navigator that doesn't know how to read GPS even in English. So anyhow, I need a drink. Good morning, America. How are you? Welcome back to our channel, Trippin' Over 60. I am Lon.
And I'm Glenda.
And we're a couple retired in our 60s, and we just recently started our travels. And look at me, I've got on a travel shirt. I'm ready to go. There's some benefits to traveling that we've found already.
Yeah, we thought it might be nice to share with you just some of the things that we've learned in our few initial trips that we think might be helpful to others. You know, one of the benefits is that you experience new things. And this really just kind of wakes you up to your surroundings and what's happening. I think sometimes in day-to-day life, we kind of lose awareness of what's around us. But when you're traveling in your new environment, you really pay more attention to just the little things in life, and you really just kind of wakes you up to what your surroundings are. So that's one benefit.
Yeah, another thing is it kind of, because you're off in another part of your country or another part of the world, whatever, it starts to eliminate some of those biases you might have. You might have about people or cultures, other cultures, and to actually be there and live it and experience it, you find out that many times you're way off base on that.
Yeah, I know. I think for us, initially, we were kind of concerned. We were doing our first international trip, and we were really concerned about language barriers. And, how is that going to work? And what we ended up learning was if you are in a area that's not just a remote village or somewhere that people really don't go to, in general, you're going to find someone that speaks English if that's your primary language. But also, if you don't, we did run into a couple situations where there weren't English-speaking people nearby. And either maybe the store person would wave someone over that could interpret, or you could do a lot of communication with your hands and your gestures. It's amazing what you can get communicated. So it's really not what you think it might be in terms of the language.
Yeah, and you've seen I use my hands a lot when I talk, so in some cases it actually becomes helpful. But also, of course, Google Translate. You've got different apps that can help get you through any difficult times, but I don't think we've ever had any situation where we haven't been able to communicate.
No, and the app is particularly helpful with menus. But a lot of menus, depending on if you're in a touristy area, the menus are all in English. But if you get off the path a little bit, or at a small local restaurant, which that kind of thing we enjoy, you might find that the restaurant does not offer a menu in English. So another thing is just maybe your perspective of the culture. Sometimes you may have heard that another state or another area or country, people are rude, or they're just, backwards, or whatever it is that the stereotype is. And I think once you visit there and you really immerse yourself in that culture, you learn that these things aren't true.
Expands knowledge in so many ways when you travel. From the planning stages on through the actual travel of it, you learn so much about yourself, about ourselves, and where we're going, the people that we meet. It's just, there's so many different things involved with this.
It is. There are. And really, logistics alone, you just learn a lot. If you push yourself and you want to travel, say, by bus somewhere that you're not familiar with, you have to kind of learn the bus lines. And you kind of have to navigate airports that maybe you haven't been to before. So there are some things that really do challenge you and expand your knowledge and really end up helping relieve any anxiety you might have had.
I think too, so we're in our 60s, and I think the world has changed so much in just the last 10 years that there's so many things coming at us for those of us a little bit older. There's a lot for us to learn that younger kids seem to pick right up on. Right. I don't know if I'm right or wrong on that, but I know there's some things that just getting an Uber. You got to learn how to use your Uber. Right. There's so much to learn.
Right, and just getting past those initial barriers, it's just well worth the advantage of it. You know, another thing that's simple when you're traveling, if you go to a grocery store, really just understanding, how it works in terms of, checking out or weighing produce, those types of things. So they're little things, but they're just really great for helping us stay alive and active and curious.
Keep using the noggin.
Keep using the noggin.
Yeah, for sure. It's a great thing, I think, as we get older.
Yeah.
Keep your mind sharp,
Right.
and this helps.
Does. And then another thing, and this is just a byproduct actually, is it keeps you physically active. I know that in our day-to-day lives, we're active at some level, but when you're traveling, you're active in some way pretty much every day. And that might be maybe you're going to a concert or you're going to a theater production. You're still having to leave your lodging and travel to where you're going for the event or the museum or whatever it is. So physical health is really improved. And I think one thing that I learned on our first trip is that I really needed to lose a couple of pounds in order to feel more comfortable in all the walking that we were doing. So it almost motivates you to take better care of yourself so that each trip you can get the most possible out of it.
Right. I had to lose a little bit more than a couple of pounds, and still do. But yeah, obviously when you're traveling, you're moving, that's helping you with the weight issues, the physical fitness. But also before the travel, you want to get more physically fit.
Yeah.
And traveling and moving around, it's a whole lot more fun than mowing the lawn. Things like that type of exercise.
Right. And then last, it's just fun. It's just fun to travel. And I know there are a lot of people that aren't interested in travel, but might be interested in more local trips. And when you say travel, it doesn't have to mean international. It doesn't have to mean going across the country. It can be something more local. But what it is just a new experience. That's what you really need to think about travel as. I'm doing something I've never done before, which means I need to figure out how to do it.
Doing things you've never seen before, seeing things you've never seen before. It's just so much, we talked about it earlier with the gain of the knowledge and so many things that you learn.
Yeah.
But just, it is fun.
Yeah. Well, and I think another thing that it brings is you can connect with other people. So in our travels, we've connected in all kinds of places, on a bus, in an airport, dinners. We had a chance in a restaurant one time. It was quite crowded. The tables are very close. And these two ladies just joined us. They had been on a really interesting biking trip across Austria. So you just meet new people, learn about their lifestyles, learn about what they're doing, and it just really adds to all the fun, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It is a lot of fun. Traveling is a lot of fun.
Yeah, we've really enjoyed our trip so far, and we're looking forward to continuing on our journey.
Absolutely, and we certainly encourage you to do the same. Get out there and keep on tripping.